We are live.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Spartans Updates podcast. This is episode number 25. I am your host for today, Mr. Danny. I don't know why I just called myself that. We have alongside me, we have Steph. How you doing, Steph?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good after yesterday's win. I know it wasn't against a great team, but you know what? We won 3-1 away in a environment that we're not used to, Cusintetico, and that was a great victory. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, me too. Bruno. We also have Bruno with us. Bruno, how you doing?
I'm perfect too. And like Steph, Sporting win, so I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's all of us here. All right. So this podcast, we're going to be talking about Sporting's win in the league this last weekend against Feirense 2-0. We're going to talk about last night's game in the Europa League where we won 3-1 away from home in Kazakhstan. We're going to talk about our moddalities as we had quite a few games. And we're going to talk about the Assembleia Geral that's taking place tomorrow and where we'll discover whether or not Bruno de Carvalho is going to stay on as president or not. Before we get into all of that, let's, start off on the Sporting Feirense game. Two goals, one coming from William Carvalho and Freddie Montero. Our 11 was Rui Patricio, Bruno Cesar, Jeremy Mathieu, Sebastian Coates, Christian Piccini. And then we had Brian Ruiz, Bruno Fernandes, William Carvalho, and Gelson Martins. And then up front we had Dumbia and Monteiro with Rafael Leão, Lumor, and Bataglia coming in as subs. Steph, we'll start it off with you. I think you've hardly ever started off the game analysis. What did you think about that match?
The game against Feirense, that was a great game. I'd never seen Sporting playing so well. That was one of our best games. The first half, I think we missed like a ton of goals. I don't know the exact amount, but we did miss a lot of goals. We should have been up by the first half at least by 4-0. And but without Bas Dost, we couldn't score. But I guess it was a question of pressure, especially for Dumbia. Because you could be a great striker, but if the balls don't go in, the pressure will get to you. And then Montero, he's physically he seems to be fit, but he lacks a rhythm, which is not his fault because he stopped playing on the 3rd of November in the MLS. So that was a long time ago. So now he's acquiring rhythm because he's still a great player. He knows how to play football and he's got all the skills. So he didn't forget about it. It's just a question of rhythm. Our Sporting team is way ahead of him, and now he's trying to catch up. So eventually he will score, which he did yesterday, which he did against Feirense, I meant to say. So let's give it some more time, and he'll regain his form, and he'll come back as the Montero we've seen in the past. But then we finally score a goal from William Carvalho, a great goal from a corner kick, and then in the overtime, extra time, Montero scored the 2-0. But I have to bring it up, the VAR, Manuel Oliveira. He's a great piece of shit. There's no other way to say it. He's definitely either a lampião or tripeiro because é tripeiro, pronto, aí está. É uma bosta. Because what he did, he tricked the referee on the pitch. So the referee on the pitch, to be totally honest, it's easy to blame the referee on the pitch. But in this case, he called them on the VAR. They were talking on the microphone, and he tells them, hey, you should review this play. And the only play he showed was the foul. So he thought the foul was the beginning of the play. So he tricked the referee on the pitch. When we all saw it, a falta aconteceu, se aconteceu, because that's not really a foul. That's a flop.
Yeah, it was really soft.
Really soft. But let's say it was a foul. Feirense regained the ball, When he regained the ball, he passed the ball again. So that's a new play. And then after
Yep.
that, we regained the ball, and that's when Doumbia scored. So there's no doubt that they broke protocol, and the VAR, Emmanuel Rivera is a total douchebag piece of shit. He should be suspended for the rest of his career. But we're talking about Portugal, so this might happen maybe in 2070 when we all dead. So we're not going to see in our lifetime. But when you have a malicious VAR referee making that call, and it's purposely, let's not be fooled. This call was purposely done, and we in the 21st century. It's embarrassing for the Portuguese league. É uma vergonha, because how can you trick the referee on the pitch when you saw that Feirense regained the ball, passou o colega ao lado e o Sporting reconquistou a bola? That was a new play. Dumbia's goal was a goal, and then they kept the pressure on Dumbia. He was substituted, and then finally scored. He scored yesterday, but it's really against Sporting. They're trying to do everything for Sporting not to win the league. I have no doubts in my mind. We have all kinds of investigation going on, emails, vouchers, não sei mais que, o filho de tal, e o filho de não sei quem, a mulher do outro, da lá, and they're still doing it. It's an embarrassment. It upsets me tremendously. But we won because we are blessed, and that's it. We won 2-0, and I'm happy, but Sporting, they should be really concerned about what's going on. As manobras atrás dos bastidores, é incrível, incrível. Eu estou estupefacto. I'm completely upset. And that's it. That's all I gotta say.
All right. I agree 100% with you. Bruno, what do you think about the game?
Yeah, like Steph said, we played very well. A very good first half. On the second half, we start losing our fuel, but with our heart, and the players gave everything until the end. We reached the first goal, and then the second goal near the end. It was a good performance from the team against all the issues during the match provoked by the referees.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. And Steph, we had a very first half, like a very great first half. We should be 1-0 up. I just want to say something that I don't think enough people hit on, and even other podcasts similar to us, where I want you to remember the incident against Desportivo de Chaves and Benfica, where Jonas wins the ball, but he wins the ball by fouling and by really getting at the Desportivo de Chaves player. It was a clear foul, and then that leads to the Benfica goal. Now, the referee doesn't call that foul. Where was VAR there to go back and take that goal away? That goal that foul directly led to their goal. Now with us, whether it's a foul or not, like Steph says, even if it was a foul, Feirense won the ball back, passed it out, and then lost it to us, where we then hit them on the counterattack. These two things don't make sense. How come one team gets away with it, or one team actually breaks the rules, but VAR doesn't come into play, whereas the other team has to get where the VAR manipulates it to make it look as if that foul led to our goal. It's super frustrating, and it's nothing new really in Portugal, sadly to say. But yeah, first half was probably one of the better halves we've had this season. Another thing was there was a handball in the 30th minute that, again, VAR doesn't come in and help out the ref. Okay, whatever. Feirense played well. They almost scored a goal just before we scored off that corner from William. So credit to Feirense, but Sporting won 2-0, but it could have been 5, maybe 6-1 at the end of the day. Before we get into another game, I just wanted to ask you guys a quick question, or 2 quick questions. One, what did you guys think of Rafael Leão when he came in? Bruno, I'll give that one to you.
Rafael Leão. It was a good start from him, coming from the bench, his first debut. He came without fears, show what he's capable for, a little, and a rising promise. And he must work a lot to explore all of his wonderful talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Steph, what did you think about Rafael Leong and the little time he had? But what did you think of his game?
Well, without a doubt, I saw on Twitter some Sportingistas asking what has he done. Well, that's because if you don't know what he's done, you've been distracted. Because he's a superstar in our under 19. Every time he played for the Sporting B, he scored goals. In the youth league, he scored goals. My man is physically fit. He's a perfect combination of a striker, could be a winger as well. He has a lot of potential. He's only 18 though, so let's take it easy. Let's not rush him because Rafael Leão, he's only 18, and like Jorge Jesus spoke on the Flash interview, when he called him, he was shaking all over. Estava a tremer por todos os lados. He's only 18. And then when you have a crowd of 42,000 fans, Sporting, it's not easy, you know? Mm-hmm. So we're expecting a lot of things from him. But let's not, put too much stress on the kid. Let's break him in easily and nice and slow. He was called because it's obvious why. We only have Dumbia Montero, and any coach in any league in the world likes to have a third striker, and they called him. But is he going to play a lot? No, he's not going to play a lot. That's obvious. He has a lot of talent, but he should, get better and better now with the next preseason, 2018-19, so you can feel much more comfortable. But I'm expecting great things from him, like everybody else. But let's give him time. I don't like rushing young players. That's how we lose them. Like Mateus Pereira, his last game against Chaves. O Chaves perdeu 4-0 com o Porto, não foi?
Yeah, but he played well.
Apparently, he played well.
He did play well.
He was the only dangerous player, and now
he could have scored a goal.
And now, if we had him at Sporting, we could have used him when we didn't have Gelson Martins and Bas Dost, and we could have. Podence is out for another 10 weeks or 12 weeks. He broke his ankle, so we could have used him if we had him. So I mean, we don't have him. He's loaned. But about Rafael Leão, he came in well. He showed he's got skills, mas há que ter cuidado. Não há que apressar a coisa. O puto é bom, mas se a gente for com um passo mais à frente, vamos queimar o miúdo. Há que ter calma, mais nada.
Yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, he did well for the little time he had left. I think he came on in the, let me check here, 60th minute, 69th minute. So, he had a good 20 minutes to play. He played pretty well. He did okay. The goal was offside, but he did assist Gelson, if you guys remember. But, of course, Gelson was offside. So he did okay. I'm also, just to keep it short, I'm also expecting big things from him. I like the fact that he's he's good technically, he's fast. He can play through the middle and on the left. His versatility, I think that's very important to us. My second question, another debutant, or a debutant, I don't know how to pronounce it. Lumor at left back. He also subbed in on the 73rd minute for Bruno Cesar. I think he did well. He came in and right away he showed some pace to him. He got that, he did a really good cross into the box. But then after that, he was kind of, even Jorge Jesus said it, positionally, he was kind of all over the place. Also 21 years old, so obviously let's not rush him too. He's a young kid, but he didn't look that bad. He looked pretty good. Bruno, I'll go with you again. What did you think of Lumor?
Yeah, I agree with you. It was a good debut from him. He didn't accuse the pressure of the shirt and for playing for Sporting. and he was dynamic offensively and with the will to help the team. I think he just needs to improve defensively, the positioning, um, but without that issue, he has a very good potential.
Yeah, I agree. Steph, what did you think of Lumor?
Lumor, when we got him from Portimonense from the get go, we knew his weaknesses were from defending. He was good offensively, so Sporting got him knowing that oh, this guy, we need to work on him playing defense, even though he's a left fullback, but apparently he's like kind of Jonathan Silva, not that good in playing defense. But we have the best coach in Portugal, JJ, and I'm pretty sure that within a few games he'll be up to par with the routines of the team, with the tactics of the team, getting to know. It's essential. It's extremely important to have a good chemistry. In this case, for him, it would be Jeremy Mathieu. Yeah, Jeremy Mathieu, he falls more into the left and Kouach more into the right. So to have a good understanding and good communication and good chemistry with the whole defense, and also in this case with Acuna or Brun Cesar, because that will be the two people players playing on the left wing, or Brian Ruiz. Brian Ruiz also plays in the left wing. So as long as he understands the left wing fellow players and also his defense, and game after game and practice after practice, he's just gonna get better. He's got the quality. That's why we pay 2.5 million to get him. Sporting Club Portugal is very careful when acquiring players. We just don't say, "Hey, aquele gajo é bom, vamos buscá-lo," just because we got a phone call from o tio dele. That's not the way it is. We have a scouting department that goes into depth, and I don't know if you guys heard the Ubino. Ubino was part no Sporting 160. He was part of the scouting department, and he kind of explained how things go about that. Sporting always have 4 players ready to go for the same position. So and that's the truth. So let's give Lumor a little bit more time. Let's not, people forget we just got him. What, two days ago? I mean, I'm exaggerating, but 2 weeks ago. So with time given, he's a smart player. I think he's Dutch from the Netherlands as well.
No, he's from Ghana, from Africa.
Is he from Ghana? He doesn't have the citizenship of Netherlands?
I don't think so. I think
No?
maybe you're confusing because he was supposed to be going to PSV, but then last minute he came with us.
Okay, maybe
I'll
then.
check though.
But anyway, so I'm expecting great things from him too because we have a great coaching staff that develops players. I mean, we've seen Piccini. Ninguém dava 5 tostões por ele. Now he's a great player. We've seen Bataglia. He was okay at Braga in Sporting. He's a superstar. So I'm expecting great things from Lumor.
Yeah, the same with Ristovski too. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ele veio do Rio Queixa, and nobody knew about him. Look at him now. Every time he plays, I love the guy. Me personally, if I was a coach, I would put him before Piccini. But that's me, of course.
I agree. Right. Currently, I agree with you.
I like him. I like him very much. É raçudo, meu. He never gives up. O gajo parece estar ligado à eletricidade. I love him.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and the last question of this game, I guess we can just quickly give in our input. Who do you think the man of the match was? Who do you think should have improved? They're our worst player. And out of 10, what do you rate the team performance and JJ's tactics? Bruno, I'll give it to you.
for the team, I will give an 8 just because the failures in front of goal.
Mm-hmm.
But in quality, it was near the 10. For me, the man of the MVP was Rui Patricio and William. Rui Patricio because he did an awesome save when the result was 0-0. if we suffer that in that shot, it would be really difficult. The victory. I think we would draw or even lose because Ferenc will, if they were in advantage, they will fall back, and it will be harder for us. And William Carvalho, for because he was vital for the team, he is starting to raise his level, and we will need his best for what is coming.
Yeah, I agree. I'll quickly basically go hand in hand with what you said. I'll give us an 8 out of 10 as well, just because in the first half we weren't as eficaz. We didn't finish that well. We had so many chances that we should have put away and we didn't. Our worst player, I'll give it to Doumbia, even though he scored that first goal that was wrongfully given back. There was just so many opportunities that he had this game. He could have had 2-3 goals maybe. There was one where William sort of centers it, and he's just, I don't know if he didn't slide in well enough or what it was, but I think he could have got better to it. There was another one where he's isolated in front of the net, and you can pass it to Bruno Fernandes. You can even pass it on the other side to Monteiro, and you shoot it, and it goes wide, which, that's unacceptable. My man of the match, I'll agree with you. It's between William and Rui Patricio, because Rui Patricio had 2 or 3 big saves against Feirense, and William was just all over the pitch, passing the ball well, getting the ball back defensively, and then, of course, he scored that goal from that sort of header, but he had to, still stay focused and find where the ball was on that bounce back. And with JJ, I'll give JJ a 9 out of 10. I think he got everything spot on. I wasn't necessarily thrilled with Bruno Cesar and Brian Ruiz all on the one flank, but he quickly also switched that up in the second half when he noticed that he needed something else on that area. So he gets a 9 out of 10. Steph, what do you think? Steph, you're muted. You're muted.
Ok, meu, já estou de volta. Espera aí. Estava a pensar na morte da bezerra. So I don't have a worst player because if I'm Doumbia, if I score a goal, my goal is cancelled, it would throw me off, and that's what happened. That threw him off. I know he missed some easy goals and stuff, but I don't have a worst player. I think Doumbia was actually a facilitator. He played the first touch. He doesn't complicate. He doesn't dribble too much. So, I mean, imagine yourself. You're on the pitch. You score a goal and they cancel it. That's gonna throw you off. The best player of the game for me was William Carvalho, without a doubt, because he's been playing below performance, but that's because of the fatigue. So finally, he's back, and you could see it. And then we'll talk about it in a little while. We saw with against Astana, he also had a great game. So that was my man of the match. JJ with this game, I give him an 8 out of 10. He was okay. I could still see some improvement. I don't like the fact that you have a healthy center back on your bench like Andre Pinto, and he played yesterday a great game. And then you don't play him on when you have a Coates that's exhausted. That's really he's in the game against Feirense. He lost some balls, no ar, where he's really good at, and that's because he's exhausted. So don't be afraid to put Andre Pinto. He's proven he's a great center back on the pitch to replace someone that's exhausted and tired. So that's the only thing I don't like about JJ. I know he trusts certain players, tem confiança em alguns jogadores, but when you see you play a style like Coates or Piccini, or then if you have good replacements, which we do, then do it. That's all I gotta say.
All right, perfect. Yeah, that was the Sporting 2, Feirense 0. Let's jump into the game from yesterday. I'll give you our 11 as well, where we won 1-3 against Astana in Kazakhstan. Our starting 11 was Rui Patricio Net, Piccini, Coates, André Pinto, and Fábio Coentrão on the left. William Carvalho and Bruno Fernandes with Brian Ruiz, Acunha, and Gelson Martins, and Doumbia up front. Bruno, because I gave it to Steph for Feirense. Bruno, what did you think of the game yesterday?
I think the first half wasn't very good from our part until the first 30 minutes. But it wasn't easy due to the synthetic grass and the time difference after a long travel. The team required a little bit to adapt to the conditions. But after that, we managed to play our football like we used to. In the second half, we started with another attitude, not another focus, and that led us to the victory, and it was deserved, and we could win with a difference, with a larger difference. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Steph, what did you think of the game yesterday?
Can you go first and come back to me?
Yeah, sure.
I got
sure.
a phone call. Okay.
No worries.
I'm sorry.
So I agree exactly with what Bruno said. First half was very bad. I think we really fell asleep on that first goal. There's no excusing that. Again, the VAR was, or not VAR, because unfortunately Europa League doesn't have it. But again, Doumbia scores a goal where it was called offside. I don't know how. There's a guy literally defending the corner, and he's right in front of the linesman. So how you think Doumbia is offside when, one, he's still behind the defender that's guarding him, and two, on the very corner, if you guys ever go and notice the picture, the very corner of the picture, you see an Astana defender closest to, I think it was Bruno Fernandes taking the corner kick, which is clearly playing him on side. So again, I don't know, maybe Doumbia has some voodoo on him. I don't know. He scores 2 goals and he scores 3 goals and he really only gets counted for 1. But credit to him. I think he had a great game yesterday. Unlike Feirense, I know I might have been a bit hard on him, but he had a pretty good game yesterday, combining well with our midfield players. Even though in the first half we couldn't really get much going, the second half that response was perfect. Eu acho que o Jorge Jesus estava a puxar as orelhas deles porque they came out and started performing, and in 10 minutes or 8 minutes we scored 3 goals. Clear handball from the Astana defender, and then a beautiful little play that Acunha did on the left, where he sort of flicked it over one defender, gets it past another defender, crosses the ball in, finds Gelson. Gelson blasts it through the goalie's legs, and then Doumbia getting an open net goal for the third. Could have been more. Gelson had a chance to score. He missed. Bruno Fernandes, even in the first half, he had 2 free kicks, I think. Or no, one was a free kick where the goalie was good to save it, and another one where he sort of just let the ball drag in front of him, and he had that beautiful shot on net where, again, the goalie had to be on point to save it. We played extremely well in the second half. It was a shame we didn't see that in the first, but of course, considering, the conditions of going from, probably, what is it, in Portugal, it's probably 16 degrees right now, and then going to negative 18 degrees, and 8-hour travel, it's tough. So considering all that, I think we did good enough I think we played very well and deserved the 3-1 and maybe even more. Steph, you there? Are you good or no?
Tá tudo fixe, meu. I got a phone call from a good-looking ex-girlfriend. No, I'm okay. I wish. I wish. No,
Give her my number.
no. You're too far, bro. You're too far. So, no, about the game about yesterday, the first half, I had to take Tylenol and what kind of medicine to, because it was a really bad first half by Sporting. But I was kind of expecting it because playing no Ravado e no sintético, it's different. A bola é mais rápida. And it was tricky for Sporting because they're not used to playing sintético. The last time we played was a Taça de Portugal contra o Oleiros, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that was a few months ago. Astana, that's what they play every day. They play every day in piece sintético. And it's small details that sometimes fans don't understand it, especially os lampiões e os tripeiros, because they love to make fun of us. But we didn't lose 5-0 like the other ones. Anyway, but first half it was I think Sporting adapting to the pitch. Once they figure it out, because we're talking about professional players. Oh, okay, 45 minutes. Now we know how the ball bounces and all that stuff, and because when it bounces on the synthetic, it's faster. So they picked up on that quite fast. And then second half, Jorge Jesus, like you said, spoke to them and said, "Listen, this is a different pitch. You got to be careful because the pace is a little bit faster." So once they did figure it out, in the second half, within 7 minutes, they came blazing. We scored 3 goals, and we had everything under control. And then it could have been 4-5, 5-2 because they had a couple of chances too towards the end. Astana, uma bola até no poste, but we missed some clear goals as well. Doumbia finally scored. Like you said, he scored 2 goals, and only one was validated. All defense to the French linesman, because that was a French referee team. That was a really fast play. I mean, Brian Ruiz for the cabeça, the goalie defended it. So the linesman had to go off the header from Brian Ruiz. And if you look at the replay, even replay, it's hard to call. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the linesman. Because then afterwards they called a few offsides because the Stena scored 2, and it was offside, and he called it in our favor. And then the penalty kick, like you mentioned, it was a penalty kick, and he called it. So I think it was an honest mistake, and without the VAR, I don't think it would have been possible to call. It would have been like, don't call offside or call offside, and he called offside. So to blame him just like that, it's a little bit harsh, because when I saw the replay, I was telling myself, I understand why he called offside, because it was such a fast play. Because let's be honest, when the normal speed, could you tell it was offside or not? You couldn't tell. You had to wait for the replay, am I right? So yeah, so
I had a feeling it wasn't, but
yeah,
that's just me.
That's
just me.
Yeah, eu também porque sou Sportingista. But when you cool off and you actually watch the play carefully, then you notice that it actually, it was a difficult call by the French linesman. But regardless, we won 3-1. It could have been 5-2 or 6-2, and Viva Sporting e a segunda mão ganhar with the only team that seems to be going forward in the international competitions. O Braga já foi, perdeu 3-0. O Porto levou na peida 5-0, também já foi. Portanto, with the only team left, we had 3 out of 6. We're going to be 1 out of 6. So, and then with a little bit of luck, we might be able to get a good draw and get a so-so team. And God knows, maybe we'll make it to the final. It's too early to talk about that, but why not? And that's all I gotta say. We deserved the game to win the game, and the temperature didn't make any difference. It was a covered arena. Inside the arena was 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, so the temperature was not a factor whatsoever. Sporting logistically was really smart. They flew na madrugada. The players, I don't know if you saw the pictures on the Sporting Twitter account, official account. They had seats that could lay down all the way and sleep.
Yeah, it
So,
was a private first class
porra,
plane.
olha, eu nunca viajei assim, meu.
Yeah, me neither.
Que delícia. But, they slept the whole way to Kazakhstan. And then when they got there, they got, familiar with the pitch. And, we deserved to win the game. E na segunda mão há que fazer o mesmo para conquistar mais pontos para o ranking de Portugal. E we ranked number 41. We were 54 when we started. Now we moved up to 41. And if we win the next game, I'm pretty sure we'll be moving up the ranks. And then you'll Benfica drop, Porto drop, so we'll be able to catch them up. And that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree. Pronto, I don't really have any questions like I had with Fadis. So just Bruno, give me your man of the match and the team's performance out of 10, JJ's tactics out of 10, and I guess who you thought maybe was the worst player.
Sure. For me, the MVP was Bruno Fernandes because he's always able to help pushing the team forward and was very important us again. He was the most regular player, even in the first half. The worst, maybe Quentrell, but he wasn't. He didn't. It wasn't his best match, but it happens. I'm sure he will rise and came with his strength to help the team on the next matches. I will rate Jorge Jesus with a 9 again. At the beginning, I thought he was taking some risks introducing the key players on the starting 11, but the incidences of the game proved that he was right about his decisions.
Yeah. Steph, I almost forgot your name for a second. What do you think?
About the worst performer. I mean, I don't really have one again. I guess I'm 100% Portuguese, and I don't like to pinpoint who was better and and who was the worst. But Doumbia redeemed himself. He scored 2 goals, like we spoke about before. The tactic was. I think that was the right tactic. He played on a 4-4-1-1, a little bit different. But for this game, playing in a different turf, and then with a few changes, it was not. It was actually a good call. So I give Jorge Jesus an 8 out of 10 in the tactics, and then the performance of the team. The performance of the team. I mean, I have to break it down in the first half. I think Sporting deserves a 7 out of 10, and then the second half a 9 out of 10 because they played much better. But like I said, he wasn't adapting to the turf. I think that was the biggest obstacle. And besides that, I love the performance from André Pinto, and I would like to see JJ use André Pinto more times, especially when you see Coates. He's been under the weather. And it's not because he's lost his quality, for God's sake. No, not at all. It's because Coates, he has been playing every game, so give him a break. When you have such a great center back on the bench, and same thing, Piccini looks better now. He looks like he has fresh legs, but you got Ritovski, so play Ritovski because he's a great player. He has proven we can count on him. And besides that, that's all. That was a great win.
Yeah, quickly, I'll just get into it. I think Bruno Fernandes as well was our man of the match. A fantastic game. Got an assist, got a goal, could have got maybe another goal if the goalie wasn't on his day. For JJ, I'll give him an 8 out of 10. My only reservation was I didn't think Brian Ruiz is up to scratch. Maybe try out Ruben Ribeiro or even put Bataglia to reassure our midfield. I think that's what really let us down, even in the second half after when we scored 3 goals. Battaglia not being in there really got them to open up a bit, and then once Battaglia came in, those threats kind of nullified. And since it was turf, my only concern was players like Piccini, who's gotten injuries in the past, and even Coentrão. But Coentrão, I'm kind of empathetic. I get it. There was no other left back that he could have really played, maybe aside of Cunha. So yeah, JJ gets an 8 out of 10. The team gets an 8 out of 10. That performance in the first half is unacceptable, or it wasn't. I agree with Steph. Maybe they're adapting to the turf and all of that, but to fall asleep sort of on that first goal, I think is unacceptable. But the second half was perfect, and my worst performer, I guess I'd also. I'd give it also to Coentrão, but not to say he had a terrible game or any of that. Maybe he was just out of the better performing players. He maybe was just the worst. Nothing crazy like that though. He still had a decent game in my opinion. So yeah, anything else you guys want to add on the Astana game? Anything we missed maybe?
No, I mean the only thing I'm going to add is that the Astana game had 20,000 fans, I believe. That game was the fans of Astana. They looked at it like a Champions League game because they were so excited, and you saw the fans enjoying the game and voting for their team like they're supposed to anyway. And I think people forget that the trip itself was 6,000 something kilometers, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. 8-hour flight, basically.
Yeah.
So long flight because I saw some comments on Twitter. That was Astana. Still, all the obstacles we had to overcome. We just played Feirense on Sunday. Then we had to travel and play Astana. 8 hours later, a different time zone. Different, now you're changing your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All that makes a difference, So we lucky that we have such a well-organized club. They think ahead of things, and the players look like they were fresh. But then we had to deal with the turf, synthetico. It's not the same. But so I gotta give 2 thumbs up for the sporting, not only the sporting team, but the administration. Everyone that prepared the logistics, everyone that prepared the whole trip up to Kazakhstan. So bravo, well thought. Every single small detail, and that's why we won. It's not always the team and the coaching staff; it's everyone assisting, including Paulinho, of course.
Yeah.
Miss Brunt, that's it. That's all I have to add. It's I'm proud to be a Portuguese because we think about every single detail.
Yeah. Bruno, anything to add?
No, I think we all said all.
All right, perfect. Let's get into the modalidades then. Is that what we agreed on? Yeah. Let's get into the modalidades. Bruno, take it away.
Yeah. About handball, it was a great victory against Benfica. Proof of strength and resilience. And now the team must continue the good results against, starting with a victory against Arsenal from Devesa on Flávio Salete tomorrow. About volleyball, our team won 3-0 against Castelo da Maia, a difficult game. Instead of what the score reveals, but the team managed to be efficient on the most important moments, and they are in a good way. Today, they are playing against Sporting Clube das Caldas. Futsal, after the stop for the European Cup competition, will return this Saturday for the National Cup. We will play against Carrasco de Montenegro on the tomorrow. And after that, we will play against Benfica for the championship. We have an advantage of 5 points, and I'm sure that the team will play to reach the 3 points. about okay, our team traveled to France. Our team will play against Cavert for the European League. If we win and Lodi doesn't win against Liceu da Coruña, we will reach the quarterfinals. That will not be an easy match, but I guess we will win with more or less difficult. On Wednesday, we will play against Tumar for the championship. That will be a difficult match as well, but I'm sure we will handle it. Football Feminino, they will play against Valadares for the National Cup in Alcochete tomorrow, and we'll play against Boa Vista next week. A game that we must win in order to continue our way to the B Campeonato, B Championship. I don't know. Yeah, that will be two difficult games, but I'm sure they will win. And a last word, but not less important, the most important of all, for the goal ball. The team was spectacular. They reached our 28th European title in Sweden, and that's an awesome achievement for the team and our club in general, because it's the first Paralympic title in Portugal for a Portuguese team. So that was really, really an awesome achievement for the club, and I'm really glad to have to see all the modalities in a good way, and that's why, passing for the next chapter, that's why we must vote for Bruno Carvalho to continue this great work.
Thanks, Bruno. That's a perfect transition to what we're about to go into next, which is the Assembleia Geral, which is taking place tomorrow. Whether Bruno Carvalho stays on as president or not. Steph, introduce this. Talk about what's going on tomorrow, what we're voting for, and your opinion on everything.
Okay, before we go on about that very important topic, I'd just like to add to the modalidades that track and field athleticism, we won 18 titles. So, hey, that's something. So, but that's what Sporting Clube Portugal is all about. That's why we have 54 modalities. About the AG, which is the General Assembly, which is extremely important. There's 3 points to look at. Bruno, actually, we just spoke about it offline. He will be at the General Assembly with his uncle to vote for. I wish I could go. Sincerely, I was considering, but it's not cheap flying from the U.S. to Portugal just to vote for these three important points of views. But my call to all the Sportingistas, especially from the ones in Portugal, I mean, you have to go. You have to go and vote, like Bruno was explaining. You have to vote. If you don't vote, it'll count against us. Am I right, Bruno?
You are totally sure.
Yeah. So basically, if you say yes, it's yes. If you say no, it's no. But if you don't vote, it'll be considered as a no. So the 3 points I'll be talking about, it's about o Conselho dos Croquetes, but that's not actually a decisive one. Bruno Carvalho doesn't really. He wants to obsolete that Conselho because it's good for nothing, and other administrations actually try to do the same thing. So it's ironic now that they fighting it when we had the Godin Lopes asking for the same thing. Dias de Cunha asking for the same thing. So absolutely that Conselho that it's good for nothing. They do nothing. They basically dead weight. So all of a sudden now, oh, it's a big deal. So people have short memories. Bruno Carvalho became president in 2013, I believe. Am I correct, Bruno?
You are totally correct. Once again.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2013. People forget that in 2013, Sporting was bankrupt, didn't have money to even pay just the regular employees, the ones that cook, the ones that fix the pitch, the ones that fold the clothes, that washes the clothes, didn't have money to pay anybody. People forget that we basically end up in seventh place. Our team we finished seventh place, the worst ever. Benfica, the worst they had was sixth place, and Porto, ninth place a long time ago, but still. But that was embarrassing to all of us. People forget that our modalities, as national modalidades, they weren't fighting for anything. In the end ball, finally we're winning, but Porto won it for 7 years in a row. I know because I follow handball. We only had 44 modalities, 40 modalities. Now we have 54. He increased all that. Um, our Sporting was basically dead. It was good for nothing. The uh, the average was not at 42,000 or 43,000. Was below that. It was like 30,000 or less per game. So we didn't have our own pavilion. Now we have our own pavilion, thanks to Bruno Carvalho. We regain our dignity. We regain our confidence. We regain our joy to watch the games. Because before it was like, oh, at least we tied. We would be happy with a tie. Bruno Carvalho, what he brought was a strong Sporting, not only in football but all the other modalities. And people have short memories. We could have been in the second division if he didn't win the elections and if he didn't conduct the way he is conducting the club. We have the best acquisitions ever, the best sales ever. He's selling players at 20 plus millions when we were selling them at 7 million or 2.5. Now we a club that people look at us and respect us. So that's the big difference since when Bruno Carvalho won the elections. Now let's talk about the points of the assembly. What he wants to do is change some statues, which they outdated. They need to be looked into and changed. Like any club, like any government, like any company. It's old statues. Then he wants to implement um, the discipline statutes, which we don't have. We don't have it, or it's whatever we have. It's very vague. He wants to go into depth into the discipline of the club within the club. And then the third one, it's the Conselho Administrativo, the one we spoke about, croquettes. So all he's asking is for the Sportingistas to vote for that. He wants 75% of it, and if he doesn't get the 75%, he will leave, which will be extremely bad. Let's say if he gets a 75% and he stays. If he doesn't want to be president and when we opt for elections, then the new president, let's say the new president will be Bruno Brito. Then the new president can rechange the statutes. They can rechange everything back again. I don't see why they're making such a big deal, because the new president, when Bruno Carvalho leaves, can go back to the same bullshit that he used to be before, which doesn't help the club. These de Cunha, everyone complaining, they've been in the club in our dark ages, so they haven't done anything. We were not winning anything at all whatsoever. We were winning maybe a couple titles nos juniors, under 19 or iniciates, but that was it. No major titles. So Bruno Carvalho, he won 6 international titles, one international title per year since he's been there. A little bit over because it's 6. So what else do you want from him? He won a Taça Portugal, Super Taça, and the League Cup. The only thing he's missing is basically the Portuguese league, Liga Nos. We still in the Taça da Liga, in the Taça Portugal, we lost 1-0 in the first leg against Porto. That's not a big deal. In the second game, we could easily win against Porto with a nice, healthy team. And in Liga Europa, the European League, we're still in good shape. But then if Bruno Carvalho is gone, who's going to take over? That's the question. That's $1 million question. Who's going to take over?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Is it going to be Godin Lopes? Is it going to be Dias da Cunha? O Severino? All these guys are croquettes, man. All they care about is o bolso deles, their own pocket, making money à custa de Sporting. That's all they care about. They don't care about our Sporting because who's going to be o Pedro Madeira Rodrigues? Oh,
O gajo parece mais lampião do que sportinguista.
exactly, my good friends.
Tomorrow you will be like Chuck Norris, the missing one.
There's one thing I got to say to wrap it up, and then I'll let Bruno speak his mind. The one thing I'd like to say is that Bruno Carvalho doesn't have to answer to everybody. Sometimes he could like if somebody says something, he doesn't have to answer to them. He does talk a lot sometimes. Fala bocadinho demais. And that's why he has Nuno Saraiva. That's why he has his vice presidents. Let them speak once in a while. He doesn't have to be in the defensive all the time. And that's all.
All right, Bruno, go ahead. Give us your input.
About tomorrow, I just want to say that I hope all Sportingistas remember what is really better for the club. Appear in the pavilion João Rocha to vote for the best of the club and bear the merda for the croquette. No, seriously. I hope all the associates lead the club for stability that we truly need, and didn't throw the club for the mud again. We should give an additional proof of trust to our president and all the staff in order to reestablish the order in the club. And I think all Sportingados that don't have the ability to speak democratically without insulting must stay away from the important decisions in the club. I love our modalities, and I don't want a dumbass in our club to extinguish almost all the modalities once again. I lived for that time, and I don't want that again. This is serious. We are a sporting club from Portugal. Our history leads to a lot of modalities. We can change our. We must follow the origins of our creation. So that's why our president is on the right place, and once again, bear the merda for the ones who say that they are sportingistas and just want to look for tacho. Andam literalmente à procura de tacho in our club, and they just want to destroy our patrimony again. They are like abutres because they feel sentem o cheiro do dinheiro. Eles movem-se por isso e nós temos que correr com eles do Sporting.
Yeah.
Já bastou o que aconteceu no passado.
100%. I agree with what both of you have said. I urge all Sportingistas to go to the João Pavilion tomorrow, to the pavilion, to support the man that's really brought this country back to, or this country, this team, this institution back to its glory, that back to what it deserved to be, back to what what stories that my dad would tell me about, back to when I was a little kid and I would see them winning, not to this drought that we've had and that we currently have. I'm tired of presidents that come through our club that use it just to progress, like both of you have mentioned, to progress themselves. If I'm not, who was it though? I think it was Betancourt If I'm not mistaken, he came to Sporting. In 2 years, he left, and Sporting was mainly there for his political career. Was it him, if I'm not mistaken?
For political.
Like, he came to Sporting, and then he basically was there for a short period of time, and then fucked off and went to do something
Santana.
political. Santana, yeah. Santana Lopes was there for a year, and then boom, gone. This isn't us. This isn't what the club that we deserve. The club we deserve is the president that wants to push us forward, that has been pushing us forward, and that's Bruno Carvalho. Of course, he has his criticisms of the man. He isn't perfect. If that's what you're really worried about, but the issues you're worried that certain people are worried about are really, it's more of a personal attack rather than what he's actually done for the club. And like Steph mentioned, I don't want to go back to the days where Guilherme Lopes and others like him are taking over this club and are draining us of our financial stability and just making us basically win nothing. And again, with I think Bruno Carvalho gets more criticism than any other president I've ever seen in Portugal in my life. The things that he gets judged for, like early on when he would start sitting with the coaching staff and all that, he was getting criticized for that. But back in the day when Peter Costa was doing that, he was getting a round of applause for it and how he's a great president, blah blah blah. And even now with this, he's saying now that if certain things don't get passed, he's not the president. And Benfiquistas are talking here, talking there, but little do they remember Luis Filipe Vieira did basically almost the same thing. Of course, a little different, but you know what I mean. It's and not to mention what their president's currently involved in now. Certain criticisms are unneeded or unwarranted, especially for the work he's done at Sporting in the short period of time. How he's transformed us to a team with little to nothing financially, a team that barely or hadn't won in so long, to a team that's competing, to a team that we've won the Taça Portugal under him, we've won the Supertaça, Taça Liga. This is the only thing that's left is the Campeonato and a European competition maybe, but under him, this has been the closest that I've ever seen, or the most convincing era that I've ever seen of a Sporting team. And I hope all goes well tomorrow. I know Bruno will be there. I think I messaged my cousin. He hasn't answered me. I hope a Saldanha, one of my Saldanhas, are going to be representing me and my other Portuguese in my family. And yeah, hopefully all goes well. Steph, Bruno, do you guys have anything else to mention before we wrap up the show?
I can express in Portuguese right now to pass the message properly, like I want to.
For sure.
Então, eu espero que os sportinguistas votem em consciência. Tipo, não se esqueçam que o Bruno Carvalho, apesar dos muitos defeitos que tem, principalmente na comunicação e às vezes é intempestivo, não deixa de amar o clube como muitos de nós amam, e ama muito mais do que nós, porque apesar de trabalhar no clube, vive o clube 24 horas por dia, e isso é factual. Há imensas figuras de Sporting a comprová-lo, como o Augusto Inácio, por exemplo, e o Jorge Jesus também já o disse, e nós não podemos abdicar daquilo que é uma pessoa que sente o clube para voltar a colocar estes energúmenos que a única coisa que fazem é destruir os ativos do Sporting, vendê-los ao desbarato, e enquanto metem dinheiro ao bolso, o Sporting os sportinguistas têm que se focar no que é bom para o clube. E não se esqueçam que temos um presidente que sente o clube em todas as modalidades, está presente, dá-nos liberdade de expressão, e tenho a certeza absoluta que se alguém se deslocar ao pé do presidente e falar com ele cordialmente, que ele não negará ou tratará mal essa pessoa. Ele é uma pessoa que ouve e que sabe reconhecer os seus próprios defeitos. Muitas das vezes ele age intempestivamente, sem dúvida. Mas se repararmos, ele mais cedo ou mais tarde acaba por reconhecer os seus defeitos. E nós não vimos isso nos presidentes anteriores. Ele vai aprendendo com os erros. Mesmo por vezes tendo a cair um pouco de volta a um erro ao outro, ele acaba sempre por limar as arestas. E os outros o que faziam era: Iam para debates entre croquetes, aquilo era tudo para cego ver, e andavam ali todos entre eles, era uma festa. E nunca assumiam erros. Depois chegam as auditorias do Bruno Carvalho e vimos que só faziam merda no clube. E nós não queremos isso outra vez. Por isso toca a votar com as ideias no sítio e a votar pela saúde do Sporting Clube Portugal sem pensar em proveito próprio. É tudo o que tenho a dizer.
Well said. Well said. Steph, anything else to say?
Yes, I have a couple more things to say, and I'll wrap it up as well. Let's remind that 90% of the Sportingistas voted for Bruno Carvalho. These 10% that they complaining about, it's because they had, like Bruno said it, great positions, which in Portuguese we say tachos, and now they don't have them anymore. And we're talking about people that they were given a chance by us Sportingistas. Once upon a time, I voted for Gooding Lopes. I voted for possibly Santans Lopes. And they didn't do anything. They were given a chance to change our Sporting, to make it better. And what did they do? Nada. Zero. So now we have a president that's a little bit orthodox, the way he communicates. He keeps up with social media, which now it's the 21st century. He loves to use Facebook. I agree that sometimes he should deflect it. He should tell one of his vice presidents or one of it, like Nuno Saraiva, o diretor de comunicações, to actually be the one sending those kind of messages. But let's be honest. When we brought up the issue about the vouchers of Benfica, everyone thought it was a joke. And guess what? It's back again. Now it's not a joke anymore. It's been put together with the email scandal, and God knows what else is going on. So to all the Benfiquistas that like to point out to us that we haven't won anything in 15 years, now we know why. Because they've been buying the championships. They never earned them. They bought them. So that's a big difference. To all Benfiquistas that actually tells me that Luís Filipe Vieira is a great president, I don't respect you at all. But if you tell me that he should be out of your club, then yeah, you have my respect. I respect the institution of Benfica. But as we know now, our Sporting hasn't won anything because there's a system in Portugal. And if you don't think there's a system in Portugal, then you're very naive. Very naive. Bruno Carvalho, he was willing to arregaçar his mangas and fight for that system, against that system. And that's why he's getting a lot of pressure. That's why he's getting a lot of criticism, because he is willing to put his face up front and fight for the corruption in Portugal, which does exist. To all the ones that like to bring up Cristóvão, the corruption com o caso Cardinal, the only thing I have to remind you is we kicked him out of our club. We stripped him of his cartão de sócio. We don't want him in our stadium. You guys do the opposite. You applaud Luís Filipe Vieira. You applaud Pinto da Costa because he's not good at all as well. We are a club that wants to win fair and square. And our president fights for all that. If we go back to one of the croquettes, what's going to happen is we're going to be under the control of either Benfica or Futebol Clube Porto, because that's what's going on. That was going on Corri Dias, Godinho Lopes, even Santana Lopes. All these ex-presidents, they had lunches with presidents of Benfica, with dirigentes of Benfica, and all they did was get along, but we always got the short stick, which was 18 years without seeing a championship, which was 15 years without seeing a championship. Whatever alliances we made with those clubs, we never came up on top. We always came up at the bottom. So why the hell we want Bruno Carvalho out of our club? The only thing Bruno Carvalho has to learn is control his emotions a little bit more. Not to be so aggressive in responding to every single person that criticizes him. he's going to be criticized. We know that. But he doesn't have to respond to every single person. He can deviate that and deflect it to one of his vice presidents, like I said before, or diretor de comunicação. So if Bruno Carvalho doesn't win tomorrow and he's not our president, I can tell you I'll be extremely upset. And I'm always going to be Sportingista. I've already paid as minhas cotas até dezembro. But, I'm going to be brokenhearted because by far he's been the best president we ever had. And as borboletas saltitantes, when they say, thank you for the Utetra, you don't have to thank him. You won it because you bought the championships. You didn't earn them. And custa a quem custar. Aos benfiquistas, aos lampiões, or whatever you want to call yourselves. You guys never won them in a fair way. You bought them. And it was not Bruno Carvalho giving it to you. So Sportingistas from Lisbon and from the whole Portugal, go vote tomorrow so we can win and so we can be champions soon rather than later. And that's all.
All right. And with that, I guess that is our show. Another great conversation amongst the three of us. Thank you, Bruno, for joining us yet again. Of course, you're becoming a regular, and we love having you here speaking Sporting. Steph?
It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Thank you. Steph, as always, thank you, my good friend. Really helping out on the Twitter page, helping out, of course, on this podcast. Your work is highly valued to me and all of our other fans and Sportingistas that enjoy our page. And with that, all I want to say to finish it off is barra da merda por todos aqueles que não são do Sporting Clube Portugal. Viva o Sporting and ciao.
Okay, one more thing. Sam Fonseca will be back the second leg of Sporting Estana. He just told me via Twitter. So Sam Fonseca will be back soon. And viva o Sporting. E o resto é conversa fiada, meu. Later, peace in the Middle East.
Rain in Spain.
Viva o Sporting. 1906, baby.
Sempre.